Welcome to an interview between AI, Artificial Intelligence, and Paul Lima. My name is Paul Lima, PaulLima.com if you want to read more about me. And I have MS, or multiple sclerosis. Recently I asked AI to conduct a question and answer interview with me, focusing on someone with MS. I did not give AI any indication of the topics related to MS that it should ask about, or the nature or tone of the questions. What follows are AI's questions, unedited by me, and my answers to them. My feeling, AI makes for a decent journalist. I enjoyed the interview. Hope you enjoyed the Q&A. Question: when were you first diagnosed with MS? And how has it affected your life since then? I was diagnosed with MS about 22 years ago. It's been hit and miss. MS is a snowflake disease. It's different for everybody who has it. It puts some people in scooters and wheelchairs. I can still walk with a cane. When I had recurring remitting MS, hits would come and then they would go. There were days, weeks, even months when I was feeling pretty crappy. Then the hits would go and I'd feel okay. I now have secondary progressive MS, mostly in my legs, and as I said, I walk with a cane. Question: could you describe some of the common symptoms you experience due to MS and how they impacted your daily routine? Aches and pains are not unusual. That's what I experience with my MS. Tingles, eye issues, black spot in front of my eye. I couldn't drive. I now don't drive, but that's because I have MS and what's called a new daily persistent headache. So I have no balance. If I got into a car, I'd kill myself or somebody. Right now, as I mentioned, I walk with a cane. That's the greatest impact the MS has on my daily routine. But for 15 years, I had hits and strange things happened. The most bizarre thing was a hit to the taste buds. I didn't lose my taste. Everything tasted like crap. That went on for about 5 months and I lost 35 pounds. When food tastes like crap, you do not eat for pleasure. So it's been hit and miss over 22 years. Question: what treatments or therapies have you undergone to manage your MS symptoms? The answer to that is I haven't really undergone any treatments or therapies. I don't want to say my MS is mild. I guess moderate would be the best word. There are people who have stronger hits and more intense MS than I do, and they look at disease-modifying drugs or diet to try to manage their MS symptoms. I've been fortunate. I haven't had to go on an MS med. Mind you, I've tried 7 meds for my new daily persistent headache, and none of that has worked at all. I have a headache 24/7. In addition to the leg issues due to my MS. Can you discuss any alternative or complementary therapies you've explored to complement traditional MS treatments? I really haven't looked at alternative or complementary therapies other than I try to eat well. If you were healthy and you ate poorly, you would feel crappy. Well, if you have MS and you ate poorly, processed foods and lots of sugary things and stuff like that, you would feel even worse. So while I haven't been on a specific MS diet, I have tried to eat well. And I'm very fortunate. My wife Lynn is an excellent cook, and she makes great meals. Mind you, I make my breakfast and lunch. She makes the dinners. And so just try to eat in a healthy manner. Question: how has your support system, including family, friends, and healthcare professionals, played a role in helping you cope with MS? The answer to that is my family understands that I have an illness. as do some of my friends. I have lost some friends, but that's okay. You can't do what you used to do, and so you don't go out with people. But my family and some of my friends have been very supportive. They know if they come over for dinner that Paul's going to have to go sit on the couch after dinner and just kind of zone out for a while. Healthcare professionals, I kind of feel sorry for them because there's no cure for MS. So all they can do is prescribe medication and basically hope that you're going to do as well as you can do. So there's not a heck of a lot they can do for your MS. As I say, I feel sorry for them. We want to take care of people who never get better. Question: can you share any personal strategies or lifestyle adjustments you've made to better manage your condition? Again, not a lot have I done in terms of personal strategies or lifestyle adjustments, other than trying to eat well. Okay, I do eat chocolate-coated almonds on occasion, but that's my only sin. I no longer drink, not at all. I no longer drive the car. I try to, well, I don't do rigid exercise. I try to walk every day. We have a dog, and I walk him once and sometimes twice a day. And so I think that getting the exercise and movement has been good for me. It keeps me from seizing up even more than I otherwise would. Question: have you participated in any clinical trials or research studies related to MS? AI, that's a good question. I have not. Again, my MS has been moderate, and when it was RRMS, the hits would come and go. And, sometimes they would go for like 6 months or more. I'd be fine. And then I'd get a hit. Something weird would happen with my eyes or whatever. I'd get strange tingles, pains, taste buds, as I talked about. But I really haven't participated in any trials or research studies. I guess because my MS has been moderate. I've just chosen to live with it. And I don't think there's anything more that I can do. Question: how has MS affected your mental and emotional well-being, and what steps have you taken to maintain a positive outlook? Good question, AI. Mentally, emotionally, I have down days, I have dark days, I have days when I just don't feel mentally or emotionally well. MS has, in terms of diseases, has one of the highest rates of depression. So I think it's not, you're not depressed just because you have MS. Oh, I'm depressed, I have MS. I think you're depressed, that MS causes you to be depressed. I do my best to not talk in a negative manner, to be as positive as I can be, and I think walking the dog really helps, getting the fresh air and the movement. I just try to keep it to myself. Mind you, when I was first diagnosed, I thought I had been given a death sentence. I knew very little, nothing really about MS. So I was really down, and I think I talked in an emotionally down way. In fact, Lynn said to me, go find a support group. You need to talk to people who can understand, who can support you. Not that she wasn't supportive, it was just overwhelming. Question: are there any specific challenges or obstacles you have faced due to MS that you would like others to understand better? Yeah, it's so hard to describe because the challenges and obstacles are different. They change, not day to day or week to week, but month to month over the years. Right now it's walking, and sometimes I walk with a couple of friends, and they understand that Paul's got to sit down, and the dog understands Paul's got to sit down, and he sits patiently at my feet. So yes, there have been challenges and obstacles. Basically, I deal with them as they occur. Right now I use the cane. At some point I'm probably going to have to use 2 walking sticks. Maybe there's a scooter or wheelchair in my future. I just simply mentally don't want to go there. Question: have you encountered any misconceptions or stigmas surrounding MS? How do you address them? I have been very fortunate in that the people in my life have understood that I have a disease. They've asked me questions about it, and I've tried to explain it to them as best I can. I know people, though, who encounter stigmas. They're called lazy, they're told they're faking it. I was a freelance writer-trainer for 35 years. I really enjoyed my work. Trust me, I did not want to retire. MS and my new daily persistent headache have forced retirement upon me. So I'm not lazy, I'm not faking it. I'm very fortunate that there aren't people in my life who say that about me. And the people with MS who deal with people who have misconceptions and stigmas, they have my sympathy. Really, I think if anybody said I was lazy, said I was faking it, they would simply be cut out of my life. I don't need exterior negativity. I feel negative enough about myself at times. Questions. Are there any particular goals or dreams you have despite living with MS? How do you work towards achieving them? I have really loved writing, and when I can no longer write for newspapers, magazines, or clients, and the goal became to write a book, to write a novel. I had written in my life 20 nonfiction books. When MS forced retirement upon me, I decided to try to write a novel. The good news, I have 3 novels. Chronic, which is about 4 people with various illnesses who live together. Jerry, which is also about 4 people who live together. They're members of the LGBT community. It's really a spoof of Seinfeld. It's kind of a comedy, although it addresses some serious issues. And Family Tree, a historical fiction spanning 17 centuries. That's my latest and last book. The fact is, I don't have the energy to sit down and write a book anymore. But I worked towards them. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. I self-published the books. If you go to paullima.com, you can read about the different books. And no, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I can email you a free PDF of any of the books that I've written. If you want a PDF, email Paul MS Lima, Lima, Paul MS Lima @gmail.com, and put in the subject line PDF and the title of the book, and I will send you the book. How do you stay informed? Question: how do you stay informed about the latest advancements in MS research and treatment options? Basically, I belong to several MS groups on Facebook, and people will talk about different things that's happening in MS. I'm 68. I don't think my MS is going to be treated, is going to go away, before I die. And MS isn't going to kill me, but I'm going to die with MS. So I read about it and take a look at what's going on, the various meds and stuff like that. But I don't really do much about it. Again, mild to moderate MS, not a lot that I can do about it. And so I don't do anything about it except live with it. And I know a lot of people with MS would tell you the same thing. They simply live with their disease. Question: has your perspective on life and personal priorities changed as a result of living with MS? I think the answer to that would be yes. It has to change. If you have any illness, any disease, any ailment, it changes your priorities. I don't work like I used to. I don't work at all. My perspective on life, I'm sick. I sit on my butt, I play games on my tablet, I watch movies and TV series, I read or listen to audiobooks. All those things different people do, but that is now my whole life. Honestly, I so love being able to walk the dog, though. That's what I can do to get out of the house and just get some fresh air and exercise. I don't know what else to say. Any sickness, illness changes your perspective on life, changes your personal priorities. Question: how do you navigate the challenges of disclosing your MS diagnosis to employers or colleagues in the workplace? I'm retired, so I don't have to disclose anything. And when I was freelance, I was a writer and trainer. I didn't have to tell people I was sick, But I know people with MS who work full time, and they have to tell their employer, hey, I may need some extra time off. They have to tell their colleagues in the workplace, I may be tired, I may need your support. You have to tell people if you're sick. I've told friends and family members, they help, they do what they can do when they can do it. But I haven't had to tell my employers or colleagues, because I don't have any anymore, but also as a freelancer, if I couldn't work, I just wouldn't work, as opposed to saying to people, oh, I'm sick. I think I was fortunate that way. I don't know. I talked too much about it in the first couple of years, not to employers, mostly to Lynn and then to friends and stuff. And then I shut up about it for a long time. And then I joined support groups, and that's where you get to talk about what you have and how it's affecting you. Question: are there any specific activities or hobbies that you find particularly helpful or enjoyable in managing your MS? As I said, I've been a writer pretty much all my working life, and since retiring I wrote three novels, and that really helped me. It gave me something to do every day. Turn on the computer, dive into the book, and work away at it. Beyond that, and I've said this a lot, walking the dog, it's not a heck of a lot of stuff I can do. I guess I've become a discriminating movie and TV watcher, in that I find good stuff to watch. Listen to audiobooks and play some games on my tablet. Questions: are there any resources such as websites, books, or organizations that you have found particularly helpful in your journey with MS? A lot of stuff online about MS, so there are lots of websites if you Google multiple sclerosis. I have in fact written a book called Everything You Need to Know About MS. Again, it's at paullima.com/books. If you want a copy of the book, email paulmslima@gmail.com. Put MS Book PDF in the title and I will send you a free book. The book has no miracle cures because there are no miracle cures. It sells nothing because I have nothing to sell. If you are on Facebook, search for Matthew Price Modified by MS or Men with MS Zoom Get Together. We get together every Monday evening around 6 o'clock Eastern Time. If you're a man with MS, it's a really good group. Lots of discussion about MS, but also about stuff beyond MS. Matthew Price organizes it. He brings in guest speakers and stuff like that. So if you're a man with MS, look for Men with MS Zoom Get Together and come join us on Monday. It's a really good group. It's a support group. It's a get it off your chest group. It's a talk about anything but MS group, talk about all things MS group. And of course there are MS societies in Canada and the US and other countries. that have information. I did belong to I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, a Toronto support group for several years. Then the pandemic hit and the group moved online, and it sort of disintegrated over time. But it was very helpful as well to meet with a group of people who were like-minded, and even though MS is a snowflake disease, we all had MS in common. And so that was very useful for several years as well. Question: can you share any advice or words of encouragement for individuals who have recently been diagnosed with MS? All I can say is I hope your hits are few and far between and that they're very mild. I know that's not the case for everybody. You can't do much more than live one day at a time. Try to find something to do. You know, I wrote the books, I walked my dog. Try to find something to engage your mind, to keep you active as best you can. I know it can be difficult. I am finding it more and more difficult due to my MS, new daily persistent headache, and let's face it, I'm 68 years old, so age is also an issue. I do hope your MS, if you've been recently diagnosed with it, is as mild as it can be. And if it comes on strong, look for support, get people to help you, to support you, and take it day by day. Try to work to your limits, and even some days maybe go beyond them. Sure, it means you're going to have to spend a day or so in bed because you pushed yourself too hard. But, you know, you did something. You accomplished something, and that's important. Question: how has MS impacted your relationship with loved ones, and how do you maintain open communication and support? My wife Lynn has been incredibly supportive. I encourage her to go and do stuff without me because I just can't do a whole lot of stuff. We talk. I don't talk as much as I used to, but if anything bizarre is happening, different or whatever, I let her know how I'm doing. We don't make it a daily conversation. There's really not much to talk about every day because nothing changes every day. But she's been very supportive, and I have a few friends and family members as well who have been supportive. They say, how you doing? I say, would you like the long answer or the short answer? And then we laugh. And then I tell them a little bit, and we move on and talk about other stuff. Question: what do you consider the biggest misconception about MS, and how do you debunk it? I don't know that misconception would be the word I use, but if anybody tells you you're faking it or that you're lazy, you know, just, tell them it's not the case. It's just not truth. And there are some people that's what they think about folks with MS. It's sad, really. Beyond that, I mean, if you're a reasonably intelligent person, you ask about the disease, you learn about it, and you don't have any misconceptions. You understand it, and you give the support that you can give. Question: how do you stay motivated and maintain a sense of hope and optimism despite the challenges posed by MS? Again, AI, good question. It can be difficult to be motivated and to maintain a sense of hope. Optimism fades, but those are just down days. Then you get back up on your feet or back into your wheelchair or scooter and you move forward. What else can you do? You know, you've got this illness, it's there. You have MS, but MS does not have you. You have MS, but MS is not your life. It has an impact, there's no denying it. You do what you can do, though. And you just keep on doing it for as long as you can do it. Question: can you share any strategies for managing fatigue, which is a common symptom associated with MS? I'm not a doctor, so I really can't share any strategies other than I hope you don't have fatigue. It doesn't hit everybody. I had it the first 2, 3, maybe 4 years. And when you have fatigue, It's not like being tired. It's like you just pass out. And that's all you can do. Pass out. Lie down on a bed, on the couch, sit in a chair, whatever. Give it an hour, 2 hours. Let it go. And then get up and get on with life. The one thing, and I've said this before, diet. Eat well. Eat well isn't going to eliminate fatigue if you have it, but it's going to help you feel more energetic when the fatigue doesn't hit. The fatigue is like some people with MS have brain fog. The fatigue comes and goes. Some people, the brain fog comes and doesn't go. You have to learn how to cope with it. Write yourself notes. Get the people around you, tell them things, get them to help you get them to help you remember. I know people with brain fog walk into the kitchen, get a cup of tea, and walk out with nothing because they don't remember why they went into the kitchen. All you can do is deal with the symptoms you have as best you can. Find strategies to deal with the symptoms. Be it fatigue, be it brain fog, be it some physical thing. And yeah, if your issue is, like some people get, I forget the word, teeth issues that the MS causes, and they're in pain. Strategies for dealing with pain. Take painkillers and hope they help. I have the New Daily Persistent Headache. 7 meds haven't helped at all. I'm learning to live with my headache. It's been 7, 8 years. I know people it's been 10, 15, 20 years. They've had a headache 24/7. What are you going to do? You either give up or you live with it. Same with your MS. Same with any illness. You either give up or you live with it. You live with it as best you can for as long as you can. Is that a strategy? I don't know. But it's the only thing you can do is take it day by day. Question: are there any specific dietary changes or nutritional approaches you have found beneficial in managing your MS symptoms? Again, I've talked about diet. Eat well. There is an MS diet. There are diets that some people go on. I don't go on any specific diet. I just try to eat well. I think that's the least you can do is eat well. Get your vegetables, meat and potatoes or whatever. If you want to look at an MS diet, try it. If it helps you, great. If not, just keep on eating well, because if you eat poorly, you will feel even more poorly. Question: how do you cope with the unpredictability of MS symptoms and the potential for relapse or flare-ups? Good question, AI. I feel like you're making me seem like I don't have any answers, because I don't have any answers. When I had our MS, symptoms would come and they would go. When they came, I would deal with them as they came, whether I had to rest, whether I had to sit, whether I had to not eat, whatever the case was, I would just deal with it as best I could, and how I dealt with it depended on the symptoms. The potential, you go through life, especially if you're RRMS, thinking, am I going to get a hit? When am I going to get a hit? What's it going to be? All you can do is just try to quiet your brain. I talk to some people, I tell them to journal, keep a writer's journal, just try to get it off your mind. It's there, so try to get it down on paper and out of your head, and maybe that will help you relax. Because the symptoms are unpredictable. They come, they go. The relapses come, they go. The flare-ups come, they go. You have little to no control over them. Maybe the meds help. I hope they do, but some meds have side effects. Some meds help for a while and then they stop helping. So you talk to your neurologist and you look at meds if your MS is such that you need something to help you control your symptoms or flare-ups. So look at meds, look at diets, try to get some exercise, try to take it day by day. Is that an answer that's going to help anybody with MS? No, but then there are no real answers. Final question, is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners about your journey with MS, or any message you would like to convey to the wider community? Good final question, AI. I was a journalist for 15 years, and I would often end, is there anything else you would like to say about whatever the topic or subject was? I don't think there's anything else I have to say other than eat well, take it day by day, talk to people, but try not to overwhelm them. And if anybody says you're faking it or says you're lazy, if you can, get them out of your life. You don't need that negativity in your life. Or tell them to listen to this podcast or whatever it is, or to join an MS group on Facebook and ask a few questions so that they get to understand why your wider community understands exactly what you're dealing with. Thank you for the questions, AI. That's it from me, Paul Lima, paullima.com. I hope you're well. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. Do take care. Be as well as you can be. Thank you for listening. Bye now. Welcome to an interview between